Here it is. It's another edition of Inspirations with Carmina. And y'all, I got an amazing guest today. She is a powerhouse minister of the gospel, and she's getting ready for something so amazing. We're going to tell everybody about it. But Lady Juliette Ross is here. How are you?
I am so glad to be here. Thank you so much. I am doing well, and we are just excited about all things, but most importantly, thanks for letting me share your time today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you're about to do something special, and I want to make sure people know about it so they can be involved and be a part of it. But right before we do that, you and your husband have an amazing ministry, and it's making such an impact in our community. Please tell people about your church.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Well, we're located right here in Irving, Texas, about 5 minutes from the DFW airport. We've started this church in 2015, and the Lord has just been blessing it literally every week. After service is over, I stand at the altar and I just welcome anybody who wants to greet with me. And every week somebody says, "Hey, Juliette, the Lord brought us here." And we just felt like the Lord moved us here to be a part of what God is doing at Embassy City Church. So we're so grateful for all the things that God is doing and the impact that, God has been using Tim to make in the community and regionally. So we're very grateful. Thank you.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. Definitely been a blessing for us. And I didn't realize it had been since 2015. That time just moved so fast.
It's moving. We just celebrated our 6th anniversary last year, and literally September of this year, we will be 7 years in the city. And so we're just very, very, very grateful to be there. It's a great body of people, a beautiful community because it's diverse, and we love that. And so God's been so kind to us.
And that speaks volumes even now, because so many ministries did not make it through the pandemic. So, God showed favor on you guys and just continue to grow and stay established. That's beautiful.
Yes. I will say my husband has a gift of faith, a true gift of faith. Mm-hmm. And when the pandemic came, many people did have to close their doors, unfortunately. And, we just keep telling our church that, listen, this is the Lord's church. This is not our church. This is the Lord's church. And so he pays the bills. Mm-hmm. He takes care of it. He brings the people.
That's it.
That's the bottom line. And so all we did was just video record our services over the pandemic. And you know what? What's interesting? Our finances grew more over the pandemic just shooting video. And God increased every month. And it was like, we're not even holding service. And yet he still provided. So he's been so kind.
I mean, but does that not show that when God is in it, it will work how it needs to work? I love that. I love that. You mentioned about the pandemic, and so there's been a lot of changing, and the world, it just looks a lot different now. And so I've been talking to people about being intentional. And so when I saw the whole women conference, I said, okay. I know Lady Juliette has something special for us, because so many, especially women, I think, went through just different changes during the pandemic. Schooling was different. The children were home. Some jobs changed. Your husband was now home. I mean, it just became something different.
And so, there are no lies being so.
Exactly.
I actually like being around him, so it's just, it wasn't terrible for me. But for
everybody doesn't have that testimony.
That's right. And that's what I'm saying. To your point, everybody doesn't have that testimony, and that's what I'm like. Some women had a hard time. Some women had a difficult time. Being home with their spouse, being home with their kids. And, you don't realize how much work, life, school takes away from our intimate relationships with one another. And even the most important, which is our family dynamic. And really, I think what the pandemic did was see how strong or how weak our family structure really is, or our marital structure really is, or our unit as a whole really is. And I think it just brought out what was already existing, if we're being really honest, right? And so now that affords us time to look back on what we are embarking on and say, hey, how can we improve in this area? How can we, instead of getting divorced, instead of fighting, how can we make this better? Or I can see that there's lack in this area. We're kind of weak in this area. We're frustrated all the time. So what can we do to, make this stronger, better, and greater? And so I think if we have positive outlooks, that could help us.
Right.
But if we don't have positive outlooks, we're going to take the route of, we need to get a divorce. We need to kick the kids out. We need to send them somewhere, or I need to leave. Isn't that's just what we do naturally, so.
Well, I tell you, when I saw this and I saw the conference and I thought, so many people, like for myself as a single young lady, I'm home and now, having to live life a little different. And if I don't find those positive voices, how we'll get in our head. And that's when we start thinking of all the negative and things like that. So I saw this conference as an opportunity to go get that spiritual enrichment, go get those spiritual positive voices to help me, get back on the path I need to be. And so kind of talk about the breakdown, because it's happening September 9th through the 10th. And I know there's various classes that you've been very strategic about lining up that people can be a part of.
Yes. So Carmina, I tell you what, because of this pandemic, and again, even before the underlying issues that it revealed that we really haven't dealt with. November of last year, I was taking a bath in my tub. And so apologize if that's TMI, but I love doing that. And in the tubs, I heard the Lord just say, hey, put on a conference. You need a community event. And I thought, a conference? That's exciting, because it's like throwing a big party, and I love parties. And I said, well, but Lord, I don't want to do something that everybody's just doing just to do it. Like, I don't want to do that. And I said, what would make this different? What would make this to be something that they can really walk away with? And I said, I would just really be discouraged to put on an event, get them all excited about something, and yet it lasts for 2 or 3 days. And then they go back to their old ways and go back to their old practices, and it doesn't last. Right. And so I said, I don't want to empower them if we don't do the inner work. And he just began to speak to me, Carmina, and say, that's exactly what we're going to do. And so we're going to empower them. This conference is called the Whole Woman Conference because it touches every area of the woman. And so our theme of the conference is called Step Your Game Up. And GAME is an acronym for your gifts, aspirations, movements, and your expectations.
Oh, I love that.
Empowerment sessions, there are those 4 main sessions. We're going to talk about your gifts. And this is going to be the spiritual aspect. We're going to talk about your aspirations. What are you dreaming? What are you wanting to do? And then your movements. What steps are you taking to accomplish this? And what are your expectations? And do you have expectations? Sometimes so many people try to embark on things and it doesn't come through. And the first thing that they do is they blame God, right? They blame God. They believe him for something and it doesn't come through, so then they blame him. So then now it's this fear of failure that steps in, right? And then so now their expectations begin to decline. And so now their faith lowers, and when the Lord is telling them to do something, it's like, I don't believe it's going to happen. And so their expectations begin to decline. And so this empowerment, the spiritual empowerment part is going to bring the word, build your faith up, and explore the external parts of a woman. But then we have these amazing workout rooms, which I'm really thrilled about. There's about 9 workout rooms, which now touch the inner workings of us daily life. And so this is where our inner healing comes in. And these are issues, these are things in our lives that we haven't dealt with. Maybe we haven't known to deal with them. Maybe we haven't had the tools or the resources. Maybe things that we've just over time swept under the rug. And so we have rooms that we have licensed professional therapists, mastered and PhD, coming in to speak to us in these rooms. And so we've got a grief room. Those of us that have dealt with grief, and maybe not known how to actually deal with it. Right, Carmina? So I don't know if you've lost anybody. And even if it's a loved one or a friend, that's one thing. But some of us could have lost ourselves in life. We've got to grieve that. Maybe we've had a health issue, a sports injury, anything, a work injury that has debilitated us to where maybe we're not the person we used to be physically. Maybe we used to be an athlete. And now injuries, we just don't have that anymore. And so we need to grieve that loss. We need to grieve the loss of a job or or something that we love. We only grieve things that we love.
That's
right. And so these are areas that we just don't always talk about. So grief, we have a room about the imposter syndrome that we carry and perfectionism. I mean, I'm sure you know women that they don't even know who they are, and so they just want to be copycats of others. Or they struggle with so much perfectionism that they just can't appreciate the normalcy in life. Everything just has to be perfect. And so you can't even enjoy life. And then you expect everybody to be perfect. And so you're always judging and criticizing. So there's a room for imposter syndrome and perfectionism. There's a room for things that we deal with, Carmina, that we just don't talk about. Birth trauma and the effects of birth and postpartum. Miscarriages, failed IVFs.
Wow.
These are very important, and we don't talk about it. And these things lead to depression. These things lead to anxiety. There's another room that is on cultural diversity.
Okay.
And interracial relationships and how to navigate the boundaries and just the family dynamics. There's one on family structures and healthy boundaries, How many of our in-laws and in-loves are in our marital relationships, or how many of our interracial relationships we don't have a full comprehension on. We've married somebody from a different culture and we love the person, but sometimes their culture comes out inside of them that we don't know how to navigate, right? So plenty of people have relationships with people outside of their race. And so they have to learn to navigate those things. Emotional intelligence, right? How we're angry. Some of us women are like, have you ever met a woman that's they're just angry about things, or we don't know how to balance our emotions. And so there's lots of rooms that we are going to be in there, and you only get to choose one room. So you got to choose the room that best fit for you right now. Then following that, we have some really amazing interactive and fun live things we're going to be doing. And then we come back to our self-care rooms. So now that you've gotten the tools, okay, from all these rooms that you and all these other women just like you. So if you pick a room, right, there's a bunch of other women in that room dealing with the same thing. So you're not alone. We're all in this together, and nobody has a finger to point to or judge you, because we're all dealing with the same thing. But after we get the tools to equip us in those rooms, then we have our self-care rooms.
Okay.
Have you seen our self-care rooms?
No, tell me.
They're really fun. They're really fun. So the purpose of self-care rooms, Carmina, is that when we go through these things in life, whether some of the rooms I didn't talk about, or some of us also have are victims of sexual trauma and sexual violence, there's a room for that. And so as we pick the rooms that we feel will relate to us, and we have the tools now to equip us, now we need some healthy habits, right? We need some healthy ways to cope. That means when you're alone and you're by yourself, and like you said earlier in the call, when you come home and, you're living a single life, but you have thoughts that bombard your mind, or if you're grieving something that maybe a loved one has died 10, 15, 20 years ago, and you find yourself in the kitchen weeping out of nowhere, that grief could be bubbling up. These are why these rooms are there. So now, how do we cope in a positive way? We've got some self-care rooms, and the self-care rooms are just really cool alternative ways that maybe we would have coped in an unhealthy way during that time. We could have been drinking or self-harming, or we could have been doing things that are, maybe we're taking drugs, or we're binge eating, we're binge watching shows. Anything to cope in an unhealthy way is what we naturally do. And so how can I give you positive ways that these coping mechanisms can show you how to not go the negative route, but let's train our bodies to go a healthy way. So we have a fitness class that you can go to, maybe in that moment, do some exercises, right? Or we've got a makeup person that is coming to teach you how to put on makeup. Go in that bathroom and do something to be something positive. Let me try these tips I learned in that makeup class. We have a community room where it's just going to be a fun game time. So if you're competitive and you want to let that out, let's go. We're going to play some games, give away prizes. There's a room for nutrition, and that's overall healthy nutrition body. We deal with so many health disparities. So how can we combat that? Even sexual health. How can we talk about that for those who are married?
Yes.
But there's a panel that we're going to talk about. And then there's also a quiet spa-like room. And would you know that that room is already almost max to capacity?
Wow.
And so that room, you can go in there and just lay down. I really made it for our introverts who is like, you know what, I can't be in the really fun room. And I just need a quiet space to now take in what I've learned, take in, and then just sort of take my journal book and, you know, and just reflect. That room, so many people are like, oh, I need that space to just be quiet. And so we're also going to put in a few massage therapists in that room, or in a separate area where you can sign up and get a massage if you want to, and just relax. We have a lady coming in all the way from Waco to show us how to make chunky knit blankets. Kind of similar to the one I have here, but just even chunkier and warm. You can make them. There's an arts and crafts room. And so we're just really excited about all the fun alternatives that when you're in a bad moment, you can say, you know what, let me put something together. Let me knit something. Let me make a craft. Let me put on some makeup. Let me cook something healthy, you know? And so we want to give them healthy things to do. And, you know, throughout the conference, we also have some really live interactive things that I don't want to give away all the fun stuff. You just have to come. You just have to come, because I love a good party as well. So we're going to get our inner work done, our external empowerment done, and we're going to have a great time of community, fellowship, and just sisterhood.
I love it. And here's what I love the most, because it's called the Whole Woman Conference. Yes. Everything that you've described, I mean, you're impacting every different area. So it's not just one thing. You know, sometimes we'll hear a conference and it's just kind of, you know, one thing, but God has really given you a vision that'll impact some things that normally may not get a little light on them.
For sure. Yeah, you're right. You know, most conferences, to your point, they do focus on the spiritual. And yes, we are going to focus on the spiritual aspect. These are our empowerment sessions, you know, so I'm not, you know, Jesus is in the center of this all. Can I share something with you that just the basis of how this conference came on? Luke 9, verse 1 and 2 has become one of my favorite scriptures. And I'll tell you why. In the verse, it talks about Jesus came and he began to empower his disciples. And he says, I'm going to empower you to heal and to go out and to impact the people. Then in verse 2, he says, now I've empowered you, now go and heal. And I thought, why did he keep repeating the same thing? He just kind of said that in verse 1. Why did he say that in verse 2? And when I tell you, Carmina, I couldn't get past why would it seemed so redundant. It seems so redundant. So why are you saying you put him out to go heal him in verse 1, and then in verse 2 you're like, yeah, now go out and heal him? Well, you just said that.
Right.
Well, the first word in the first scripture, heal, actually means heal. Like God will go and empower you to do supernatural healing. Okay, it means supernatural, miraculous healing that really only God can do. Yes. So when you go out and you lay hands and you touch, or you're talking with people, they're getting healed by God's presence in you, by God's power through you. He gets all the glory. Yes. But what he was saying in verse 2 is, but I've empowered you to heal as well. And that word heal in the second verse comes from the Greek word therapeunion, which means we get our word therapy. And so he's saying there's power and there's healing in you by just your presence, by your words give life. And that means you're actually going to walk through life with people. And that's going to be the way I heal people as well, is through you, just talking, just checking in, walking with people through life together. And that's what this conference is based on, is that God is going to heal us in every area. There'll be times where he may heal us miraculously, and there'll be other times where we're just going to have to walk things out until our full healing comes, however that looks, together and with one another.
Wow. And that was just what I was going to say, that for those that really want inner healing, this is a great opportunity. If you're like me and you've kind of taken this time during the pandemic to turn the spotlight on yourself and see, how can I be better? How can I do better? You know, what are some things that I need to do differently? This is your opportunity to get those things addressed. I love it. I love it. I love it. Now we got to talk about getting them registered, because as you said, you know, some things are starting to fill up. So they don't want to delay.
You are absolutely right. So the way we can register is you can go to embassycity.brushfire.com. That takes you directly to the registration page. If you want some more information to where you can kind of study and look at what room do I want to go into, maybe I don't have those issues, but I just need to know my purpose. What's my purpose? You know, you might want to just kind of look and see, what rooms do I want to be in? Go to the wholewomanco.org. That will give you some information as well. And I want to tell you, Carmina, I love sponsors, people that want to donate stuff. We got prizes, and I love vendors. I love to give back, and I want vendors to be able to share what they have. And so if you're a vendor, those tables are actually filling up as well. I actually call them retail therapists. Go shop, go bless people, go bring, when you come, bring the cool things that you have. We want to see, what has God put in you? How can we give back? What business do you have? What gifts are inside of you? Let's show these women who are coming, let's empower one another. So I love vendors. If you go to wholewomanco.org, there's a way where you can go and reach out to the vendor email. It's vendor@embassycity.com. And if there are big corporations that want to sponsor, or people that want to sponsor other women to come or donate, you can go to sponsorships at embassycity.com. And they've been coming in. We have a lady that sponsored an entire vacation package. So we're going to be presenting that at our really fun live interactive game. They don't want to miss that on Saturday. We're going to have an amazing experience. We have a lot of prizes that we're giving away, but a vacation package, listen, it's wonderful. CVS has been donating to us, so we're really excited about the companies and corporations that are believing in this conference. So that's how you register. Go to embassycity.brushfire.com or wholewomanco.org.
Love it. Love it. And we're going to definitely keep that before our listening audience. And I want to encourage this. Ladies, grab your girlfriends and y'all go together, because it's a little challenging when you go and you get delivered and you know, you're on a whole nother level, and then you come back to your friend with the same old mindset. Y'all can't, that don't work. So y'all go together.
We actually have a group rate package available. Thanks for bringing that up. The registration is $175. That's regular registration is $175. And people tell me, you know what, Juliette, that's cheaper than many conferences that are out there. So I'm grateful. But we do have a group, friends. If you get a group of women, 10 or more, grab your girlfriends, you can get the registration for $150 per person.
Nice. And see, that helps in the long run, because now you can all help each other kind of stay accountable and kind of just remind each other, hey, well, you remember the word this, and you remember, do it with your friends, people. Trust me on this.
That's right. That's right. And we have church registrations for those churches that are abroad. Okay, so, or those churches that are in another state that their church wants to stream in. There's a church host as well that they can go and sign up for that, and they can be a host church if they're in Montana or California and they want their church to be a part of this, but their whole church can't come down. They can sign up for that as well. And we also have online streaming for those that can't be. But I'm telling you, you do not want to miss the in-person experience because we're just going to have a great time.
Yeah, we got to do it while we can, because it might be changing. So we got to get together.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So registration is filling up. So I encourage you to get, I think it closes on the 26th. Okay. So don't hold me to it, but I'm going to throw that date out there. But I'm looking forward to meeting many of you, and we're going to have a beautiful time together. Really, we are.
Yes. Well, save the dates. It is September 9th and 10th, going to be happening at the Irving Convention Center in Irving, Texas. And y'all, you heard it. You heard it. It's going to be amazing. And let me do this. Let me appreciate you, as well as Pastor Tim, doing conferences and things like that. People don't understand that's no easy undertaking.
Yes, at all.
So I want to appreciate you for stepping out on faith and just allowing God to give you this vision and bringing it to pass, and just looking forward to being a part of it. I'm going to see which way I can get in there. I got to figure out a session. I'm like, okay, she's laying it all out. And I'm thinking, oh, I feel convicted right now.
Trust me, I'm in this same boat, because I'm like, I want to be in. I was like, man, what can we do? How can I? We've had so many people say, hey, how can we register for all of them? And I'm like, I know we can't. This conference would be 9 weeks long, Carmina, if we did that. So we have to choose the one that's best for us now. But the great thing about it is, when we choose this one, we choose the purpose one, and then somebody chooses a grief one, and the other chooses the imposter, the other one chooses the purpose. Now we get to come together and share, like, what did you learn in your room? Mm-hmm. This is what I learned. This is what impacted me. And you were in grief. How did that impact you? Man, I need to know that for my life. And so now we get to share our experiences, and guess what? Heal one another and begin to walk through life with one another, with what we are learning. And so I just think it's a great way to heal and walk and do life together. And we're going to make new friendships, and I'm just really excited about it. So I can't wait to hear what class you choose, and I'm looking forward to seeing you there.
I love it. I love it. Well, again, thank you for taking this time with us. We are definitely going to keep sharing this with our listening family, because we want to max it out. We want it like, I don't even want it to make it to the 26th. I want it completely
yes. Let's blow it out. Let's go. I am here for it. So thank you so much. I mean, you have been, it's my pleasure. It's my honor that you would begin to share this. So I'm so grateful, Carmina. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, please take advantage of this, women of God. This is a great opportunity to just get that inner healing. Y'all, we got to do it. Y'all, this has been Lady Juliette Ross, and I'm going to continue to share that information, but keep it right here. It's Inspirations with Carmina.